And once more, we're joined for Money Monday by Peter Fraser, certified financial planner with Credential Q-Trade Securities and the Alterna Wealth Management Group in Ottawa. Good morning. Welcome back, Peter.
Hi, Rob. Good morning to you.
And today we're talking about a novel and better approach to saving and accumulating. Tell me more.
Well, heard before, but a recent article I was looking at by Sam Sivaragan in the Globe and Mail caught my eye. So I thought it brought up a few good points that are worth sharing with our listeners this morning. And the backstory is this. It's pretty well known that the countries of Denmark and Sweden have a few things in common, of course, when it comes to their social benefit system. But they also demonstrate a pretty remarkable difference in one interesting area, and that's when it comes to organ donation. Apparently, 86% of Swedes participate in this, whereas only 4% of Danes choose to. In our own country, 81% of us say we would, but our donor rate is pretty paltry at like 13 donors per million of us. That's declining, and it's the lowest rate in 20 years, according to the Canadian Institute for Health Information.
Okay, so how does that relate to saving and accumulating wealth, Peter?
I'm glad you asked. The answer is in something called default options. In Denmark, like in our country, the default option is that you are not considering organ donation. You actually have to do something, specifically opt in to be a donor. In Sweden, the default option is that you are automatically considered to be an organ donor. Otherwise, you have to specifically opt out. And Rob, it's a single little tweak that accounts for that huge difference. So I got to thinking that there may be a financial planning application that we could learn from here when it comes to making us better savers and better wealth accumulators with more success in our financial plans.
All right. What's the lesson?
Well, it's that when we set up default options like automated transfers, say from our bank account to various financial planning tools like RRSPs or TFSAs or education savings plans, people quite quickly almost forget that they're going on. We don't miss the amounts, and we get used to spending less and saving more. It's kind of like those Swedes and their organ donation default option. This off-the-top savings becomes the norm. And sorry about that. I wanted to talk just a little bit about a guy named Richard Thaler, who actually won a Nobel Prize for his work in behavioral economics. And he put this theory to the test when he studied a variety of options that companies offer their employees for their retirement plans.
Okay. All right. So kind of like a default option for retirement plans. So what did this economist uncover then?
Well, in most cases, the default option for the vast majority of employees has always been that they have all this paperwork to fill out to join plans. But they also have to wade through a pile of investment options and then select the ones they want for their plan. And I still see this. So it's a not-so-simple task that can mean that a lot of employees either never complete it or get it in late or delay their savings. But Thaler recommended that employers try a redesign with something like a default option being the one where the employee was automatically enrolled in the plan with a predetermined, say, risk option. And the employee's responsibility only became to change that default option if they wanted to.
Right. So if you're going to work here, you're in the plan, and just based on, you're whatever you are, you're 35 years
Correct.
old, you'll given your kind of risk portfolio, this is what we think your risk options are.
Right.
And, those are going to be the default options. You can change them, but they'll only be changed if you want to change them, in other words. Right.
It's kind of like you're in until you're not. As opposed to you're not in until you are. And over the 20 years that he looked at this, these automatic default enrollment options have actually grown among employers. Back in 2012, 32% of them offered them. That number in 2022 had jumped to 58%. almost 60% of these plans default the employee into a pretty robust 4% savings rate of their earnings, and 70% of them include an automatic annual savings rate increase year over year. Like pretty good setups for success. And just in terms of bad markets, like last year, the plans all offer the ability to back out or decline or reduce, but only 9% of plan participants last year chose to do this. So you and I have talked about this. We've called this forced savings, pay yourself first, dollar cost averaging. But any of these kinds of disciplines really offer a great framework for investors to better reach their goals. And, none other than our own governments learned this a long time ago by insisting on their own default option being those automated deductions that, they're the forced savings of our income taxes that come off every one of our paychecks.
And after a while, you don't even miss it. By the sounds of things.
After a while, you don't even miss it. But, these things work, whether it's organ donation rates or creating more successful financial plan outcomes. And I thought we could end by leaving the last word to not quite the Oracle of Omaha, but Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just says that success isn't always about greatness. It's about being consistent, and if you're consistent, then that work leads to success. So I thought to myself, like
Excellent
a default
advice.
option, like doing this consistently does turn out a better result.
Excellent. Well, today's Money comments and all of our previous podcasts and Peter's great financial planning thoughts can be found at peterfraser.alterna.ca. Thanks again for this week, Peter. We'll talk next week.
Yes, sir, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Peter Fraser, certified financial planner with Credential Q-Trade Securities and the Alterna Wealth Management Group.